am. Time to speak about time. I'll be waiting here for a few connections. Welcome. Hope you're having a good time. We are going to speak about the illusion of time, and we're going to use also a technique, a quantum physics technique, to change the past and to change our future, to make real what we want in our future life to happen. So it's going to be quite an interesting occasion to change our way of seeing how things work in life, actually. I put a special title on this video, this live, because I really want to show you that time is not linear as we think. We don't have a past, a present, and a future. That is just an illusion. So this is what we're going to talk about. Our reality is an illusion. It is not as it seems to be. I see that I start to have some connections. Hi Lella, hi Fausta. This is going to be completely in English, okay? Yes, Lella, I'm going to speak in English. This is my international live, so I don't know what your English level is. Maybe you can catch up anyhow. You know, you can try to understand, you can try to be with us, and if it gets harder, there is anyway an Italian live that I've made on this subject that you can go and find. I don't remember the date, can be useful about that. Okay, so are we ready to go? Ready to find out that life is actually an illusion? Are you surprised to know about this? Hi Fausta, are you surprised to know that life is actually an illusion, or is that a common issue for you? Hi Mirella, nice to meet you. Nice to find you out here. Okay, it's 6:06, so time to go further, to move on. So, we always say we don't have time, you know, we always say that we're short on time and that we're always in a hurry and that we have a past, and that we also say that our past influences us a lot. Actually, I will show you how this is only a mental state, and actually time is a wholeness, including our past time, our present time, and our future. And this is going to be supported by some concepts, some issues that also the astrophysicists are thinking of, and that they have delivered these issues that I'm going to bring to you. Okay, so this is all going to be scientifically supported. First of all, let's see how life actually is done by. There are 4 forces that actually are interfering and are keeping the reality together as it seems to us to be, okay? Those forces are only 4. They are the main interfering forces in the universe. So far, we haven't found any other forces dominating and dominating the world and the universe. And those forces are, I'll show you. The gravitational force, we all know that. The gravitational force is binding the universe. The gravitational force, this needs a little bit of inquiring. The gravitational force has been found out by Newton. Newton was looking at an apple tree in his garden, and an apple fell. And of course it fell on the ground. And he was just mumbling within himself, and he was saying, well, yeah, everything falls and falls on the ground because the earth attires things to it. Then he looked at the moon and wondered, then why isn't the moon collapsing on the earth? And that is the time when he actually found out that the moon is collapsing towards the earth. But be quiet, okay? It won't hit us. Because he also found out the Moore's law. The Moore's law states that anything in the universe has its own movement. It's moving. And it's moving at a certain velocity, a very specific velocity. And this velocity transforms into a force that interferes with the gravitational force. So, the moon is attracted by the earth, but it has such velocity that keeps it stable at the same length from the earth, the same distance. That's why it keeps going around the earth at the same distance. We all know the gravitational force because we all know that when we have something in our hands and we lose it, it hits the ground. Very, very simple. Very simple. But the function of the gravitational force is to keep the solar system together, okay? The gravitational force binds the solar system together. And then there are other forces. We all know that the nucleus is one of the smallest part. Now the nucleus is even bigger for quantum physics, okay? Because we are when we speak about quantum physics, we speak about the subatomic world. But we all know the atoms because we had to study it at school, okay? And the atom is composed by the nucleus, made by protons and neutrons, and then the electrons that are rotating very far from the nucleus. Now, these drawings are actually not very close to reality because if the nucleus was as big as a basketball, the distance between the nucleus and the electrons would be of 19 kilometers. You know that this means that there is a lot of void between the nucleus and the electrons. And there is a force, the electromagnetic force, that binds the atoms together. We all know the electromagnetic force. We all know it because it's the force that allows us to have the telephone line, allows to have the Wi-Fi, the connection in our house. We know it because of that. It keeps together the electric force and the magnetic force. Two forces together that actually become one, and they actually derive from their capacity to bind the atoms together. When we go further down in the atom, we have the nucleus. And then we have two forces. One is called the strong nuclear force that binds the nucleus together. But the other one is called the weak nuclear force. And that is responsible for the radioactive decay. I'll show you the picture again so you can see clearly. Strong force binds the nucleus. And the weak force is responsible for the transformation. Why am I telling you so? Because actually the universe is made of a lot of void. You've seen how much space, how much void there is between the nucleus and the electrons. And also the nuclear force, the weak one, is the one that actually transforms itself into something different. So the weak radioactive force is the element, the component that is responsible of our inner and spiritual transformation. When we do a quantum jump, in that case, the weak force intercomes within ourselves, within our spirit, and also our body transforms. You know that we live in the fourth dimension and there are other dimensions below us. above us actually. And in all the other dimension, all the bodies, all the materials, anything that there is in those worlds, in all those dimensions, becomes less stiff, less full. Everything becomes more empty, emptier and emptier. And the bodies become lighter and lighter as we could see through them, like ghosts, something similar to that, okay? The nuclear force is the responsible for our changes. When we heal or when we make a change into our life, then we activate the nuclear weak force. The nuclear weak force is the one that Giuliana Conforto, she's a very well-known, worldwide famous astrophysicist, and she calls the nuclear weak force the force of love, the energy of unconditional love. Because when we heal, when we make an important change, we release one neutron, one proton, and one neutrino. The neutrino actually is something that doesn't belong to this dimension, is our body getting ready to go towards another dimension. This is something that actually they don't tell us, of course not at school, they don't tell us usually, but that is something astrophysicists are dealing with. It's quite an issue for them. It's quite an issue. So why am I introducing to you this subject to speak about time? Because reality is an illusion. There is a lot of void within our body, within anything that we see. We live in an holographic world. Anything we see is a projection of an idea, is a projection of what we think, is a projection of how we expect things to be. So I introduce to you the concept of karma. We all know what karma means, that anything we have done will somehow reflect in our present time and future time. So according to how we behaved, we will face different situations in our life, good or bad, easy or difficult, happy or unhappy ones. We can actually clear our karma if we understand that since anything is just an holographic projection, there is a quantum basic information field where anything lives, stays at the same time. We have the illusion that we had a past life and we have a present life and that we will have a future life. But everything happens at the same time because this quantum basic information field contains anything at the same time that can ever happen to us, or that can ever happen actually. Anything in the quantum field is defined by a sequence of number. That sequence refers exactly to that situation, to that object, to that emotion. That refers to the vibration that that situation or object or thought has. We have the illusion, so time and space are all within that quantum physics field. And we have the illusion of things being different because we don't see time and space as the physicists do. I'll show you again how actually time and space figure. This is called a toroid. A toroid is an image showing us that there are different circles, different levels, but they are all in a wholeness. And we are actually in the middle of this picture. We are right in the middle. But we can perceive only a very little part of the wholeness. So what actually do we see? We feel like being on a circle, okay, on the circumference of this circle. Instead, we are right in the middle. And there is a way we can change our past and bring future events to start now if we understand that all these lines are all together. Past and present and future are here all together. And we have a very special number that is going to help us. 3.14, Pi Greek. Why? Pi Greek is an initiatory number. You know that math is quite a perfect, very rational, accurate discipline. But 3.14 is called an irrational number because it doesn't stop here. It's an infinite number, okay? We used to call it just 3.14 because that's the only way we can calculate, make calculation and use it. But actually, it's an infinite number. It never ends. You see, irrational numbers refer to a different reality. It's a reality that we don't know while we are here in the fourth dimension because it refers to something that is endless, infinite, where things exist all at the same time in a wholeness. It's a place where there is no time, no space, and everything exists simultaneously. We've been speaking a lot about the importance of numbers as universal elements. Any number helps us to let out from us a specific frequency. I explain myself better. Anywhere you are in the world, no matter what language you speak, if you think of number 5, what you think, the concept you refer to, is very specific and very, very precise. This means also that anybody can refer to the number thinking of the same thing. This is why in the quantum basic field, everything is referred to with numbers, sequence of numbers, because anything in that way can be referred to and cannot be mistaken, can be precisely depicted. Okay, why am I speaking about Pi Greek? Pi Greek, being an irrational number, contains all the possible existing sequencing. Pi Greek is the number of the wholeness. Anything into Pi Greek, it exists into Pi Greek. If we make the change, if we make ourselves able to refer to ourselves not as being here or here or in any point around the circle, but if we understand that we are in the middle, and so actually things keep going around ourselves all the time, then we understand that actually we are in this position, in this situation. And we can use Pi Greek for a technique that now I will teach you to change our past. Our past, as I introduced earlier, is dominated, and our future actually is dominated by the issue of karma. What we have done in the past will lead us to a certain way of living in the future, will lead us to live some circumstances, to face some particular events. But we all believe to karma so much that karma exists. The concept of karma actually is a collapse of a collective thought into reality. That's why it exists. Everybody thinks it's correct, and everybody thinks it is so. And whether at a certain level, at a certain extent, we can agree, because it brings you back to the sense of responsibility towards what you do. That's the important part of the concept of karma. But actually, it's an issue that links us to being related always and being always referred to our past life. What we have done in the past, we cannot change it, and we will have to make up with it. And we all believe to it so much, not consciously, even just unconsciously, we all believe to a karma concept so much that actually we make it believe, we make it come true. But now we can change it, and now I'll teach you this technique. We have to, one important thing, why 3.14? Why 3.14? There is a reason for that. Look at this. If you have a disc of 1 meter of diameter, and you mark it here where it touches the ground, and you make it slide until it makes a complete circle, and then the point we marked comes back touching the ground, the furrow that this disc will leave on the ground will be a furrow of 3.14 as a length. That's the way 3.14 has been found, has been recovered. Now, in that technique I'm teaching you, you have to think of moving from the circle towards the inside. And you have to think of something that you want to collapse from the future to your present. Something you want, you have to think of how would you like your future to be? What would you like your future to happen? We are going to make so that that can start to happen right now, today, here. So, imagine to move from here in the middle of the circle, and you will do it physically. Okay, we will be standing and stepping backwards as moving back from the circle and going inside. Then you have to think clearly of what you want from your future to be collapsed into your present life. Then you will raise your arm with your eyes closed, and you will feel where in the circle that event resides. And you will stop in front of that point, okay? Then you step towards that point, and immediately you let some numbers go through yourself. You will start to see the first numbers of the sequence that is responsible for that event to happen. You will see 3 or 4 numbers, no more than that. That is going to be fine. Don't look for any other numbers. Don't look any forward, okay? Read those numbers as much as you can, as many times as you feel, until you feel within yourself that you possess, you own that future event, and that event is there with you in your present life, here and now. Then you step backwards in the middle of the circle, and you imagine yourself, you visualize yourself as everything, anything you wish actually had already happened. Your future is here. And then you put light onto that visualization, more light and more light, and you end up saying, and this is happening today, adding the date and the time. So, making a little, going through it again quickly. What do we have to do? We have to imagine to be on top of a circle. On top of a circle. We step backwards. We're going to really do it physically. So we're going to stand up, imagine ourselves in the circle, and then step backwards as we were in the middle of the circle. Then we're going to state precisely what we want to happen for us. And we will close our eyes and move around, let our arm go around to find the place, the real spot on that circle where you feel there is the information, which is in the form of a sequence, a number sequence, the information for that to happen. And then you repeat the first numbers that come into your brain. You repeat them over and over. 3, 4, maybe 5 numbers, no more than that. Repeat them over and over and over. And feel within yourself as if the thing has already happened. You already are in your future. What you wish to happen in your future is here, now, with you. Let's try to do it all together. And then you add light and light, but I will guide you into that, okay? So, are you ready for it? Have you thought of something you want to work on? How do you want your future to be? Have you thought of something you want to happen? We can work on in this visualization with this technique. We can change the past actually, because if we are slave of the concept of the issue of karma, we think that maybe we don't deserve it. As I told you, we can get rid of the past, of the influence of our past, if we stop believing into karma. Which does not mean being irresponsible. It means believing that we can create our life anytime we want, as we want it. So, yes, Fausta's ready. Okay, very well. Let's see if somebody else is ready, and then we're gonna do it all together. This is very powerful. So think of something you can aim. You can aim high. Okay, you can aim high. There's more than one that's going to do it, so we're not alone. So there's a little bit of a group doing it, and so we have to exploit the strength of the group that we have created now to do this technique. Okay, so let's go all together. So please stand up, close your eyes, concentrate, repeat to yourself, calm down, breathe deeply, breathe deeply. And then feel yourself as if you were on a little spot on the circumference of a circle. This is how we see life. This is how we live time and space, as just a little part of it would be part of our life. But it's time to be the creator of our life. And that is why we change our point of view and we step backward to go inside of the circle, to be in the middle of this circle. And when you're right in the center of the circle, feel the strength within yourself. Feel how powerful you are. Feel you have your life in your hands. Then state within yourself clearly what you wish to happen. Make so that your future wishes become true today. State it within yourself clearly, also detailed if possible. Then, close your eyes if you haven't done it yet. Raise your arm and start slowly going around, letting yourself, arm and hand, feel where around the circle that event is located exactly. Trust yourself, trust what you feel. Take your time, there's no hurry, and stop in front of the spot around the circle, on the circle, where you feel the information according to the quantum basic information field for your wish to happen is located. Just stop in front of it, feel it, trust it, and then you see immediately that there are some numbers going through yourself, 3, 4, 5 numbers, no more than that. Repeat those numbers over and over and over. That is the number sequence responsible for what happens in your life, for what you want to happen in your life. Repeat those numbers over and over. Don't forget them. When we finish up, write them down as soon as possible. Now keep being concentrated and keep going. Repeat them over and over and over. Now, step back into the circle, in the center of the circle. Feel the creator of your reality, and mostly feel yourself as if your wish had become true. Your wish, your purpose is real. Now, here. Now, feel yourself and see yourself that way. Your future desire is your present life. And please enlighten that visualization. Keep enlightening and enlightening and enlightening that visualization over and over again. Light is the means of transformation of our reality. Now, state that this happens today, May 19th, 2020, at 6:37 p.m. And this is true. This has already happened, and it has really happened. Breathe deeply more than once. Breathe deeply more than once. And get back here in this present time, in your real life, in this fourth dimension, at your own pace, but with a beautiful large smile on your face. Okay. Very well. When you're done, write down immediately those 3, 4, 5 numbers and repeat them over and over in the next days as many times as you can and as you wish. Those numbers will help you to collapse into the present time your future wish, not taking into account the responsibility you have for your past life, which is the karma concept issue we have spoken a little before the technique. So, I hope that this is clear. You can do this technique anytime you want, but my advice is to stay with it with one purpose at a time, as much as you can, until it becomes true. And this is quite a powerful technique, so you might face some changes in a very few days, not even a week, maybe 3-4 days. You might face some changes using this technique. Okay. Now, I would like to ask you a question. Is it clear how we can change our past life? Because we have worked on collapsing our future life in our present life. But is it clear how we can change our past life? We spoke about karma. I told you that karma is a collective thought, and a collective thought collapses and becomes into reality and becomes real. So we all think that we are responsible for our actions and that we'll be somehow rewarded or punished for our actions. And according to this, we somehow lead our present and future life. If we try to get rid of this vision, we don't have to become responsible, but we can just look at ourselves as they look at us from the other dimension. From the other dimensions, they don't look at us saying that we did good or bad, right or wrong. They just say that we are facing experiences to learn things. So, if I can just forgive myself for what has happened, if I can just go over my past life saying whatever has done, whatever has happened. And the most important thing is that I have learned from it. I gained experiences from it. And I deserve to go forward according to what I have learned from these experiences. That's the way of erasing the strength and the link with our past. I hope I somehow made this concept clear enough. If you have any question, if anything is unclear to you, please let me know. You can write me in my comment so I can understand if actually the technique has worked with you or not. Okay. I'll be waiting for your comments, but I have a few minutes to stay with you, so I will also tell you another thing. We think that time and space are linear and they are going towards different directions. We used to think that actually, because Einstein actually stated with the relativity law, restricted relativity law, that time and space are strictly connected, and actually time changes if we are close to a massive element. Massive means big. The biggest an element is, the most it influences time. Time changes. Time does change. It's like that. Imagine to have a material, a tablecloth, okay, on your hand, and you stretch it within your hand, okay? This is time. Then I take a stone, a huge stone from the street, and I put it on your tablecloth, and you keep stretching it, but of course it bends in the middle if it doesn't break completely. That's the way time and space relate to each other. There are some quantum watches that do exist. We don't perceive this time difference in our normal life. We perceive it if we go very high on a mountain, and we do have to take it into account if we think of the length between the Earth and a star, for example. In that case, time does change. Astrophysicists know that very well, and they deal with quantum physics watches since a long time. It's quite a new issue for us, but not to them. So now we know that actually time is not a fixed measure. It may change in case some particular situation occurs, like being very close. For very close, I don't just mean a star is not close, but it is close enough to be involved by the gravitational field. It does submit itself to the gravitational force. That's why I introduced to you the 4 forces that rule the world, the universe, because they keep the world together, and at the same time they transform the world. The gravitational force keeps attiring the star as well as the moon, okay? And so there is a length that actually we have to take into account, and the time changes between the Earth and that star, because that star makes the time bend, because it's a massive object that is into our gravitational field. Quantum physics is something that has really changed the way to refer to the world. Niels Bohr, that has been awarded with the Nobel Prize in Physics, used to say, if you haven't got shocked by quantum physics, it means you haven't understood it yet. And that is quite true, because quantum physics has really changed our way to see life, has really changed all our point of reference for our life. It has found the connection between the physical world and the metaphysical world. Now the issue, the concept of consciousness is absolutely involved into physics, and now it is involved also into the healing process in medicine. So quantum physics has really changed completely everything. It's a new way to see everything around us, and it really helps us to see that we can create our reality. If you just think that in that circle, in that toroid I showed you, once more. Okay. This is the vision of time and space, a wholeness with circles all related to each other, all connected. This is the picture of time and space. This is the way we perceive it, as if we were on a spot on this circle, and we had a past, we had a present where we stand on the stop, and we had a future. And we just made a technique to go back to that situation, clear our past, and collapse into our present what we want for us to happen in our future. Okay, so I think we have done a good job, and I do thank you for being here with me to do this technique. This video is being recorded, so you will find it and you will be able to go through it if you want to repeat the technique, or if you missed some pieces, some part of it. And I will be back here in English next Monday at 6 p.m. speaking always of either quantum physics or numbers or something similar to this. I don't know the subject, I decide time by time, but I will let you know as usual at least one day in advance, so you will be able to know next subject, and so you will know if you will be interested or not. Okay, Fausta, you will be repeating your sequence and see. I need to experience process. Yes. You will do a great job. I know you, so I know you're strong. You're strong. You have a strong personality, and you achieve what you want. I'm sure. You will let me know. So, thank you so much for being here with me, and we will get in touch next Tuesday. Okay? I'll be back here instead in Italian tomorrow at 7 o'clock with a psychic meditation on fear. We will start to transform fear. It will be a beginning, of course. It would be nice to be able to transform fear in just 1 hour. That is not possible, but in an hour we can start doing it. Okay, so I wish you an excellent evening and an excellent life. Change anything you want in your life. Bye-bye. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.